things, just
Okay.
walls and trim.
Perfect. Yeah.
And
So,
there'd be certain areas too. So the garage was recently just like the garage is actually finished, but
yeah, it looks good.
it doesn't need to be painted though.
Okay.
Um,
That's fine.
so like, and I guess that would be a good question. Can we does it reduce some of the costs by choosing some of the walls that don't need or some rooms that don't need to be painted?
So definitely rooms I can do based on the way that our paint. So doing touch-up paint, like we're going to paint this wall, but not this wall, is something that we try not to do. I mean, in this scenario, because you have white walls, it would be pretty easy, but I've had some projects where, they've got a specific color and they only want to repaint one wall. And that gets tricky just because, we don't know if it's going to match or how long the paint's been there. And so in that scenario, I would probably not do it. But in this case, yes, we certainly could do just, let's say you had one wall that was really bad. We could paint that, or we can paint certain rooms. So we don't necessarily have to hit every single room. We can leave certain rooms out.
Okay, great.
And definitely the garage looks great. And I don't think there's a lot of need for painting or anything. This isn't really going to bring that investment that we want, that ROI. This isn't going to give us a whole lot. So I wouldn't spend the money there because it already looks pretty good. I do think a fresh coat of paint kind of up through this area. I mean, I don't know if they have kids or not, but my kids tend to kick the walls and it just gets grody like at the entrance. And so I think at least going through here and, repainting would be good. The ceilings look fine. I did a walkthrough already. So everything in the ceilings do look pretty good. I do have a question about it looks like they're in the process right now. And you'll notice when we go further up, like they are definitely packing. Do you think that they want to be out prior to us starting? Or is this a project we want to do with them occupying the space? Do you have any idea?
No, it'll definitely be something where they're going to be out of the house and vacant for you guys to work on.
Okay, great. So just for the team's purposes, we can work in an occupied space. It's not ideal just because it's messy, but we don't turn projects away if, for instance, the owner doesn't have the ability to move out in time, or some people can't move out until they've sold their home and they can't buy it, so they buy a new one, so they need to stay in it while we're working, and we certainly can do that. It's not ideal, but we can.
Oh, cool.
Okay, the next thing, let's hop right into the kitchen here. So I think one of the things that we talked about doing in the kitchen was either restaining or painting these cabinets.
Yeah.
So staining might be more than painting.
Okay.
And I would be remiss to say that we could absolutely match the stain, although I think that we could. So some thoughts I had was, I mean, you're familiar with our process enough to know that if I go in with restaining certain spots, like there's not, not every cabinet looks bad. So we've got some areas where there's some, wear and tear here and there, but it's not everywhere. And so what I might do is try to go in with, staining certain sections. And then if for some reason we can't match stain, we could do a change order on site if we need to pivot. I do think that painting is less expensive than staining.
Okay.
So in that scenario, like painting all of these would probably cost less money than trying to stain them. I don't know if there was an aesthetic reason to keep them stained or not. I mean, I don't hate this, but just to keep the costs down, it's probably going to be less expensive. The other option I thought of is, could we go through with like a wood marker or like a wood pen and, try to just get those really weird marked areas. I mean, the thing is, this is a pretty high value property. Everything that you guys do out there, the dollar value is higher than most of the nation. And so, painting the cabinets, I think, is going to go a long way to help here. But you tell me what their thought process was. I thought there was maybe some hesitation from them in investing in that. Did they give you any feedback on that?
I think the option of even using a pen marker just to cover it, because it's really just on the high used areas. So like the underneath the kitchen sink or some of the most used cabinetry, that's where the wear and tear is. But
right there.
The cheaper option is the simplest and cheapest option is the way that they would want to go towards.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm thinking about going in with like a wood pen And then again, with just the contingency of knowing if for some reason that's, doesn't look great, it doesn't come out in a way that they're happy with, we can always switch scope later on and change
Yeah.
order it if we need to.
Okay.
And I think everything else in the kitchen looks great. You've got the quartz countertops, appliances look really good. All of this looks really good. So that was that part of it. And then I went through here. I mean, it's hard to see every wall, but my feeling is that wherever you have furniture leaning and you have stuff leaning, probably going to want to paint the wall just because they get, funky. So I would go through and paint these walls, but ceilings look okay to me as well.
Yeah, there's something behind. I don't know if they showed it to you or they had it, the 3D scan do it, but behind that cabinet, that plastic cabinet there along, like, to the right there, right,
This one?
the towel is holder in that area. There's a hole that was patched up and
Okay.
wasn't patched in a very good way. So it's
Okay.
bumpy and it's noticeable. And so they did ask if, that patch could be, touched up to be
Yeah,
match the rest of the wall.
totally. Yeah, totally.
The hole would be the size of like a tennis ball. And
Okay.
kind of the blemish, but I mean the hole's patched up, but it needs to be either sanded or retextured or something with it.
I will put that in there. Let me just take a note. Yep, we can certainly take care of that. A little small. And these walls look smooth. I don't think you guys, there's no texture. So yeah, we'll totally take care of that. That's an easy one.
Great.
Let's hop over here to this adorable bathroom. So I'm assuming then that we want to kind of approach the vanity cabinet the same way, trying to do like a touch-up marker if we can, or stain touch-up, and then see how it lands. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think all the bathrooms, any of the cabinetry can just be targeted with a touch-up.
Okay, perfect. Everything else in here looks good. Did we have any flooring? Were we talking about doing flooring? Why is my brain not working?
Yeah, I think originally we were having, I think I still want them to have that option if it was going to be replaced with carpet. That we include that in the estimate.
Okay. And that's the carpet up the steps here and up through this space.
Yeah, I think starting from the second floor up is carpet.
Okay.
Throughout, well, except
I think you're right. Sorry, my Matterport doesn't, sometimes they just like to skip around and make it hard on me. Okay, yeah, so there's carpet through here, there's carpet through here, so it's really everywhere, but the bathroom has carpet. And then as we go up here as well. So yeah, I can certainly put it in its own little section again and see, where that ends up. What they have in here is not a plush. It's like
a commercial kind of carpet.
Yeah, it's like a office kind of carpet.
Yeah, it's
so
like a Berber.
It's like a Berber. So we could certainly do, God, this just keeps going. I mean, it's insane. So we could certainly do a Berber again, or a plush carpet, like a standard carpet, like a 30 pile. I would probably, just so that Berber's a little bit more. If you want me to price out both options, I can. If you think they care, but I think the less expensive is probably a better bet. It's just going to save them money, and why do they care? They're moving out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's all about trying to, just get that value up without going too crazy. And I didn't see anything else in the bathrooms or anything other than the paint touch up on the cabinets. That's really all I noted in any of these spaces. They all look pretty good.
Correct. Yeah. And then, then it's just a cleaning, a deep cleaning, because they've lived in it for 8 years and
needs a little love, and care, as they all do after we move out. And then I think yes, sir, go.
Well, if you go to that window over there, that's facing that field, they had some, so I guess where the deep cleaning comes into play too is just on the windowsills. They've got either some like mold or I don't know, algae, moss growing or something.
Okay.
And they did have a leak that came through from the rooftop, and they had this section either painted, but I can't recall. I don't really see anything here, but I mean, I think with the new paint, it'll be better anyways. But I don't really see anything that needs
I don't see
actual.
like a damage or anything.
Yeah, there's not necessarily any damage. You just see that dark spot on that right there where that circle was
Yeah.
in. So
And there's like a little something here, but I don't know that that's connected. That could just be a shadow.
okay,
So pretty much everything can be done with paint, unless we see mold. So, you know, if we see that there's mold, we would have to patch, but if there's like a little discoloration from water damage, et cetera, that we can just prime it and paint it.
okay.
But I did put in, when we do the deep clean, to do windows. Do we know if these windows open all the way from the inside, that I could do some exterior window cleaning, or do I bring in a guy that does exterior window from, you know, like the old school way of cleaning windows?
Yeah,
Either way, we can do that. I did assume for that we were going to have to do the exterior of the windows too.
yeah, that was great. Like, because that was one of the questions they've had while they've lived there. They've never been able to get the exterior cleaned of the windows. They wanted to.
Mm,
They said the challenge they've had was someone to get up to that kind of fourth floor to wash, to get the exterior. But those windows don't open to get access, from the inside outside. Like it would be the kind of old school outside way.
yeah, so it'd be like we'd be putting out like a why can't I think straight today? What are they called? You know, New York City, they're everywhere.
Scaffolding.
That's it. You win. Yeah, when we do elevated window cleaning, we bring in scaffolding, and that's how you do it. You have
Okay.
to go up from the outside. Okay, so I have the window cleaning and the paint, and then the other thing that we had talked about, I think, was the exterior deck, power washing it out here.
Yeah, so it'd be a cleaning, but over there on that left side, as you go towards the field, you can
Right
see
here.
or above it where the paint discoloration there. So they did touch up paint on that brighter white side, which
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily match. And so, if yeah, I guess
This
it,
is not a big deal to paint this again,
this whole
Mason.
this
Yeah.
whole interior side here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one side. It's not going to be a very big expense at all. And I do think it's worth doing, because this throws me off. I
Yeah.
think this looks, and power washing, it's probably not going to get it clean.
Yeah.
So I would just slap on one or two coats of paint just on this one wall, or retaining wall, essentially.
Yep.
Let's just go around and see what else if there's anything else. Yeah, for sure. And then just cleaning the rest of this. I mean, it looks okay. I think it just needs like a love. It just needs a little freshen up.
Yeah, and I think towards that darker side of that entrance, there's been some either algae growing or moss growing.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
that's what they're referring to as kind of like we're doing that cleaning to get the moss off. And maybe it might be towards the door. And
I mean, it's common to have that. So, okay.
but
Such
that
a
was a
great-
target of what they were looking for. And if you look on that left side there from that railing, on that side, and that wall might be, that retaining side might be painted as well.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
or here's something more specific that they were pointing to is if you look down on that railing, like right there on that middle section, if you can zoom in, you'll see that um, there's no bolts to that.
No.
The they felt like the bolts were the reasons why there was the leak, because it wasn't sealed. So when it penetrated through the
Yep.
rooftop, the bolt itself wasn't sealed with some type of caulking, so that over the years rain would seep through that. So then they bolted it to the side of the railing. I don't know if there's anything we necessarily need to do, because it should be secure from the side, because the sides are bolted in.
Yeah, I see that.
Uh,
And they're not getting any active water now.
no,
They haven't had any. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they figured out the solution and it's working, then, again, if you want us to look at it and just make sure that it's stable,
Yeah.
we can certainly do that when we're there, just to make sure there isn't something that could catch you on an inspection or something. We can certainly do that.
Okay, yeah, that would be great just to have a note in there for that.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great spot.
Where
I
you
mean,
where you live, Amanda?
currently,
Yeah.
I live outside of DC,
Oh,
but my husband and I are working on finding some land, and we're gonna do like, I mean, I'm basically designing a container house. We're gonna just downsize big time and go like really simple, so that we can both, just kind of be debt free and a little bit off the grid to some degree. I mean, I won't be completely off the grid. I'm not going completely crunchy granola,
yeah, yeah.
but just some more simple living so that I can have more things and travel more.
Yeah.
I would love to move to Seattle because I have such a love for Seattle. My father lived in Seattle for many years and I would visit him every summer. And it's one of my favorite places, but I can't. I mean, it's so expensive here. And the reason I'm leaving here is because I'm like, why am I spending all this money? And it's the same thing. I don't really want to go somewhere else where it's more expensive, but I do love Seattle. And every time I do a house in Seattle, I'm like, why don't I live there?
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for my oldest to graduate high school next year. And then once he graduates high school, we're gonna move.
Nice.
I'll
Well,
still work for Curbio because I can kind of do that from anywhere.
cool.
So, okay, so we've got all of the deck. I've got the painting of that wall. We'll take a look at the other white wall. We'll make sure this is all secure, and passes, looks good. We'll get all the moss, etc., off this, exterior, get this freshened up. And I just want to see what other images we took and if there's anything else that you want to look at in the front. So it looks like this is the front. Do we need to do power washing up here at all? Do you want
Yeah,
me to hit this area? Okay.
yeah, I think that the cleaning will be important
Mhm.
here. The front door, they did ask, and maybe the cleaning is just all that's needed. But they did ask about repainting the front door, and if you could just include that in the estimate, just so that they
Mhm.
have that option, whether or not they do want to repaint it, or
Yeah, totally. Mhm.
might be just good enough with the clean.
Yeah, I mean, it might rejuvenate it to some degree once you get all like just the old one, stuff off. But it's not super expensive to paint a front door either. So I'll put it on there. And again, obviously, this, we can add in or take out, while we're in the middle of a project too. So whatever we need to do to pivot. I probably would power wash this little retainer while here
Yeah,
too. I just get this all like, get all of this. I mean, it's not, get all of this yuckiness off.
yeah.
Would do a lot. And then is there anything you need to do here? Like, I mean, it's such a small spot and it doesn't look like anyone else has anything going on in the front, but
No,
I think it's okay. This is
yeah,
sort of what that street looks like.
yep. I think that'll be fine.
I mean, it's so cool. Okay. Anything that I missed, we're going to do the touch up on the cabinets. We're going to do a deep clean everywhere. We're going to paint the walls, pretty much everywhere, except for the garage. I'll, patch, there's a hole I'll patch. We'll take care of patching that.
Yep.
And then clean the windows and do the exterior. That's kind of
Yeah,
it. So I should be able to have something to you today.
awesome.
Yeah,
Do
maybe.
you guys do duct cleaning?
Everything. So Curbio does literally everything. The only thing that we really don't get into is we definitely don't do additions. So we don't build additional square footage because obviously we're looking to get a house ready to sell. So we don't do that. And there's some additional things that I think we do, but we only do to an extent, like really intense pool work. We usually have to sub out. We could still do it and still pay for it, but it's not one of our specialties. Other than that, we essentially can do everything from changing light bulbs up. So we don't have a minimum. We work off of an equity number. So as long as the home has the available equity for us to do work, we just need enough available equity to cover the amount of work that we're doing, essentially. And we can do anything from clean the house and change light bulbs to full, move interior walls, structure walls. We do cleaning out vents, deep cleaning, presentation cleaning. We do moving, packing boxes. We can put pods on site if somebody wants to store things. And also, to some degree, back to what I was saying at the beginning of the call, if I have a home that has enough equity, and let's say it's a situation where, and I have a lot of these actually, where it's an elderly couple and they, this is all they have is their house. They don't have a lot of disposable income. We're getting ready to do a renovation. They've lived in their home the whole lives or for 25, 30 years, and they've got lots of equity built in. In order to keep them, from having to go through construction, we can even pay for a temporary residence for a period of time. So we can do an Airbnb and front that bill and roll that into close as well. So there's a lot that we do beyond to just like the, just the basics. We do inspection reports. So we don't do the inspection, but we will handle all the work on an inspection report. So if you just have to get an inspection done, here's a list of all the things that came up on the inspection report. We do that. And I did want to let you know too, Mason, we have a new, and everybody, we have a new app now. You can go to the App Store and download the Curbio app. And when you're in a house, you can actually just answer a few simple questions and give your client a ballpark estimate while you're standing there.
Oh,
So you'll be able to kind of bypass the need to come to me for just like a general estimate.
yeah.
And if they're comfortable with those ballpark numbers when you're using the app, then you just say, okay, great, I'm going to send it to the consultant to get started on next steps like Matterport and doing the proposal. So we do have this new app. It's super cool. I downloaded it. Makes it super easy for you to kind of walk through and say, oh, well, if we want to paint this room, it looks like it's going to be X, and be able to kind of back of the napkin when you're walking through, which helps, I think, move the process along more quickly too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing.
Oh, very cool.
And eventually we're going to be doing staging too, I think. I think we're going to start getting into virtual staging. So instead of just doing what we do is now as a pass-through where you provide me with a stager's quote and I can roll that into close, but I have to charge you with 20% administration fee to run the process. And it's, it's a little clunky. I think eventually we're going to get into actually doing virtual staging where we initiate it and cover the costs like we do everything else. So that's something that I would look forward to in the next year, probably.
Cool.
All right, guys.
What about a appliance? Do you guys do new appliances, front the cost of appliances?
Everything. Yeah. So I do a lot of projects that are kitchen, like full kitchen renovations. Even opening up a kitchen, taking down a load bearing wall, putting in a beam. We do full gut renovations too, but yeah, everything. We provide all the materials. I'll show you this really quick because I think I'm a visual person. So when we work on a project and we're building these catalogs all the time, so they're not 100% complete. There's other stuff that we offer that we are still trying to input into all these catalogs. So basically, if a client is doing work with us and they need to make selections, basically they're going to have a really easy time. Everything that we show in our catalogs, we've selected because agents say it sells. So that's where we get our input about what the market's looking for, essentially. So it's really easy. You just pick you would pick your appliances. We offer everything, all the appliances. We can even do high-end like Sub-Zero, Wolf appliances as well. We have lighting, we have door hardware, we have flooring. So we have all of our own supplies, all of our own materials. And that makes it a lot faster and also comes with a much better warranty. We do warranty everything that we do for a year, and that is transferable to new buyers as well. So for up to a year, the new people that buy the house will be able to call us if something goes wrong, etc. But yeah, we do everything. So this is kind of our premier catalog, which is where I work most of. Most homes are in this premier, which is, not builder grade, not luxury. It lives somewhere in the middle. We also have our luxury selections, which is just a little bit nicer, higher end, a little bit more options. I do a lot of this kind of, more in California, probably. We're looking at houses that are above, 2.5 million. And then this year, we're also working on a catalog for selections that are even a little bit lower than our premier. So we can kind of do a good, better, best for some of those properties that maybe don't have as much equity built in and still need a refresh. So yeah, we provide everything. We do it all, man. All of it.
That's awesome.
It
Download
makes
the
it super
app.
easy.
So the app is pretty cool. So be sure to use it.
Yeah, download the app, and then you can just send it. There's a little button that says, do you want to get more information? Send it to your home improvement consultant, and it'll go through, and one of us will get it, and it'll say this was an app lead. And we can just kind of jump on it from there, and it moves a lot more quickly. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Amanda.
You're welcome. As always, I appreciate you letting me get in here with all your good friends. Next time I'll show my face when I've, not been sick for 3 days. But let me know if anybody needs anything. In the meantime, I'm going to get started on this right now.
All right. Thank you, Amanda.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yes, today's meeting. Have a great day, Gianni, Michelle, Abby. David, can you stay on for a bit?
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
How's out? Bye, Abby. Today.